Hey y'all! So today's video we're going into part 2 of the ethics complaint that John made against me and what are my responses. So we'll dive in deep to see what else was said and how I responded to his false allegations. All right, so we're diving in deep with what were my responses. So I'll give you a quick little summary of what the allegation was and then let you know how I responded. So in the first allegation, he was basically saying that I was voted into office and that the very next day I invited Jeremy into the office to look at the private files. So my response to that was, after becoming mayor, I informed everyone at the meeting who was questioning the board about different information that they were all welcome to come in and inspect the public records. Keyword, public records. The previous administration did not allow the people to look at any of the minutes, the ordinances, or financial information. These are public records and they are supposed to be open for inspection. I am friends with Mr. Hales and I'm friends with a lot of people who live in Otter Creek. Does being friends with any of the citizens mean that they are to be treated differently and that they are no longer having the same right to inspect the public records? If Mr. Hales now has been provided all this public information, then why is there still an ongoing lawsuit for public records? So in other words, if I had even given him the public records that he should be receiving, why is there still a lawsuit? So I hadn't even provided him the public records that anybody is entitled to on my becoming mayor. And the person who did provide any of the public records to Mr. Hales was the attorney. Everything went through the attorneys because there was already a lawsuit. But it's just a shame that it had to come to that point that there was a lawsuit to receive public records. I know when I was requesting any of the public records from Mary, who was the town clerk at the time, I couldn't get anything. I even hired a lawyer to try to get the ordinances. I was asking for all the ordinances. It had been forever. When I finally did get any of the ordinances, it was actually the ordinances that Jeremy had put in an electronic format that he had received from another board member. Nobody could get public records from the clerk or the town hall. It was absolutely ridiculous. Those are public records that are supposed to be open for inspection. So that whole lawsuit could have been avoided. So in fact, at that time, Jeremy still had not received the public records while I was in office. Number 2, summary of that was that a week after I'd been mayor, at my very first meeting, I informed the town that there was a lawsuit and that later in the meeting I had an idea to invite all the residents to look through the personal files. So my response to number 2 was that the lawsuit with Mr. Hales started before I was on the board. The lawyer the town had at the time, which was Mr. Warm, did not do litigation. He had referred us to a lawyer to hire for that. That lawyer that he referred us to was Megan. She was with Douglas and Douglas, who is now the attorney for Otter Creek. The files Mr. Cook is referring to, again, are not private files. They're not personal files. They are public records. The public was told that they could inspect the public records during business hours, which at that time I think was 10 to 2, Monday through Friday. And I think since then it has changed to just a couple days a week because the town hall does not need to be open all these hours. That's a waste of money. So the public has the right to inspect the public records as long as they come during the hours the town hall is open. Everybody in the public can look at them. They were told they could inspect them during that time. Mr. Hales is part of the public and he has the same right as anybody else. Nobody should be treated differently. Consequently, no one, even to this day that I wrote this, has come in to look at any of the public records. Now things may have changed some, I don't know, but at the time of writing this, no one had come in. Not Jeremy, not anybody. So, kind of a ridiculous point. So let's move on to number 3. Number 3, he's stating that a couple days later, the mayor hired one of Jeremy's employees to work as the secretary without a vote from the other members of the board while a lawsuit was going on. My response to that was, first of all, it's an interim clerk, not a secretary. Interim clerk was hired at a meeting by a vote of the board. So I did not make even the motion for that hiring. And it was a vote of the board. I believe it was a unanimous vote. And that was for an interim clerk, which meant someone to fill in the spot while we were going to hire a permanent. Because you can't run the town without a clerk. It was an emergency situation. You need to put somebody in there. And if y'all saw the mess, when we walked into that building, I don't even know how that place was being run. Should have been shut down by the state. I have pictures of what that office looked like. Horrendous. Horrendous. So, unbelievable. And anyway, back to the interim clerk. Her name was, or is, Deanna West. She is, in fact, an employee of Mr. Hales as well. She's, I guess, a contract employee. She was hired temporarily until the position could be filled. She was doing the town a favor. She was there approximately 4 to 6 weeks to help, since the previous clerk, Mary DeGroot, quit abruptly and nobody knew what was going on. The previous mayor had the town hall closed for well over a month, and he knew nothing about what was going on in the office. I think the mayor should have a lot more knowledge of what was going on to avoid what happened when she left. I mean, he says he didn't even know how to open up that computer, and he don't do email. So that's not too good. So there was definitely a significant mess to clean up. We were very thankful for Deanna coming in and helping do that. And, you know, it's still an ongoing effort. It's such a mess, you can't clean that up overnight. So we were very thankful, and that happened by a unanimous vote. Number 4, the next allegation was that I moved the secretary out of that position and turned them into a helper, and brought in another one of Jeremy's workers to take over the secretary job. And now we had 2 of Jeremy's people working in the office to do as they please. So my response to that is another citizen, Belinda Standridge, who has an awesome bookkeeping background, came in to volunteer because she's lived into the town for quite a long time, and she was upset to hear about what kind of mess was going on, and she has a background in bookkeeping, so she came in and said, hey, how can I help you? I've got this knowledge and I want to help fix this place. I care about the town. I care about the people. What can I do? I'm here for you. So she had came in. I didn't approach her for that. Matter of fact, me and Belinda never even knew each other. most of the people in that town keep to themselves and stay under the radar because of the bad vibes they've gotten with the previous administration. You just don't go out and get too chummy with everybody. You just kind of keep to yourself. So me and Belinda did not even know each other before all of this. So I think the first time I had ever met her is actually when I went around the town meeting people before the election occurred. But I still really didn't know her. I just said, hey, I'm Therese, I'm running, you know. So I did not approach her about this. She came in and volunteered, and she was voted in to be the bookkeeper. She's never worked for Jeremy. She's not his employee. So that's just another false allegation. Number 5. He says a Jeremy Hales worker had walked into the town hall recording himself, asking for keys to the schoolhouse, and that Jeremy's business was being run out of the town hall. And also that I work for Jeremy. So, you know, apparently everybody works for Jeremy. Well, guess what? We're still waiting on our checks. We don't work for Jeremy. Jeremy has never paid us. Debunked. So number 5, my response was, a friend of Mr. Hales had come into the town hall to get keys from Miss West. He's a YouTuber, and we have anywhere from 4 to 8 different YouTubers at any given time recording in the town of Otter Creek. Some are friends with Mr. Hales and some are not. Picking up a set of keys is not running a business. Ms. West does work for Mr. Hales and takes care of his property. I do not work for Mr. Hales. I am a friend. I go on his property to visit him. I have been on several citizens' properties to help them or visit them. That's just what you do when you're neighborly and you help people and you're friends with people. You go over and check on them, see how they're doing, what can you do to help. That doesn't mean they employ you. Number 6, he says that I have decided that I can run the meeting on my phone, and that he knows that I do that because the other board members come in there clueless, and that I am trying to get them to resign. And it's unethical what I'm doing. Everything's unethical. Totally unethical. So number 6, my response is, the meetings are held at town hall only at posted times where everyone is invited. Everyone. Whether you live in Otter Creek or not. Whether you live in Florida or not. Meetings are open to the public. 2 of the board members do not read their meeting packets and do not attend the workshops. Newsflash, everybody knows that, because they admit it themselves. They're shuffling through their paperwork during the meetings. They have not looked at anything. They don't know how to open emails, all kinds of different things. They live right there and they can't come up into the office and ask Belinda for the printed copy. You know, they have a lot of excuses, but somehow it's all my fault that they're clueless. Interesting. I didn't know I had such power. So, and they never even attended workshops. We had workshops to try to hire clerks. They didn't attend any of them. You know, they don't care. And then they want to make these false allegations against me, but they didn't care. I had postings, I had file folders full of resumes, which, by the way, resumes are the same thing that Mary asked for when they were filling these positions. And all of a sudden, Dawn doesn't know what a resume is or what it's for. Odd. So these members just show up to the meetings to argue and collect their $100. They're not there to do anything, read anything, but that's somehow my fault. And they have both said that they just don't remember things. Do they have dementia? I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it would appear something's going on. And that's another thing I said, that they may have some dementia going on. One of them has even gotten into arguments during meetings with the bookkeeper and clerk, even calling her honey. How inappropriate is that? And, you know, I'm at a loss as to how to get them informed and how to make them participate in what's going on to help the town move forward. I could never achieve that task, because if they don't want to, I cannot make them. Anything that has been brought up at the meetings regarding them doing things incorrectly is all in the public records. Everybody can see it. Everybody has seen it. I can't make this stuff up, guys. This is not a script. This is not a show. Well, it's become a show. What kind of show, you ask? I think you all know. But nobody's acting. Nobody's writing any of this. It all just presents itself. So, and it's sad. I mean, there's even that one board member calling somebody honey, which is Russ. He's calling her honey, then he eggs on her husband, wanting to have a fist fight. How can you be on a board when you're doing these things? Now that's unethical. Number 7. Let's see. Briefly, he's saying that we're trying to get the town unincorporated for our own benefit because it's going to dramatically decrease my taxes. I have all this land. And again, totally unethical. So number 7, my response is I've been asked by the citizens. Several of the people in the town wanted to know what the pros and cons are to unincorporation of the town. A board member, as you remember watching in the videos, Don Severino, made a motion at a meeting to unincorporate. So I didn't even bring this up. Don did. Board member Gail Lamb said we needed to do it also. She wanted more information. So I was asked to collect this information. So I then reached out to the different organizations in the county, in Levy County, to collect this information. The property appraiser's office said that most citizens' taxes in the town would go down. And that's probably everybody's biggest concern, as was presented to me, was about the taxes. And that was for most of the people. The biggest difference would be the services that would get provided. For example, the police, the code enforcement, and animal control. No one would have the power, and all the arguing would end. I have absolutely no deals with anybody. Me and Jeremy do not have any deals. So unincorporating seems like a no-brainer for the town, in my opinion, because then everybody wouldn't be fighting. There wouldn't be this supposed power. No one could control anybody by any adult favors for their water bill. So it just seems like a no-brainer. Plus your property taxes would go down. The county would have to provide animal control. The county would provide code enforcement. Seems pretty like a good deal for everybody. Okay, number 8. In the live video meeting, the mayor wears her campground t-shirt for advertisement of my business. And that I have a suggestion box with the state seal on it. So my response to number 8 was, yes, I was wearing a campground shirt in the town hall one day when I was dropping off the mail. A citizen did a short live clip on Facebook of me showing a suggestion box with a state seal that someone sent into the town hall. I thought it was so nice that somebody that didn't even live in Otter Creek cared so much about our town because we were using a cardboard box for suggestions that they made this beautiful suggestion box with the state seal on it. So we wanted to say thank you and how touched we were that you cared enough about our town to provide something nice for us. So did a short live clip, and I said I was not aware that board members aren't allowed to wear work shirts into the town hall. I wasn't even on the clock at the time. I haven't seen a law saying you couldn't. I've seen in other town meetings that people who are on the board during a town meeting have worn their work shirts. And I was not, again, in a work capacity. I was stopping into the town hall to give some mail. But, I mean, it's just another ridiculousness of everything. So, obviously, there's no law against people wearing work shirts during meetings, because I've seen that happen. I haven't personally done it. I wasn't even on the clock. It wasn't even a meeting. So, more ridiculousness. So, for the last one, it's about the fire hydrants and the locks being put on so the water wouldn't get stolen. And I know there was a lot of back and forth about all that as well. And my response to that was that I personally never removed any fire hydrant locks. Mr. Cook is not correctly informed on a lot of the things that he says. Him and his ex-wife, Lynette, who live in Otter Creek, have their own Facebook and YouTube accounts where they are spreading false information about many different people in the town. They are stirring up drama so that they can profit off of it. So, number one, the first people who ever started filming in the town hall meetings, John and Lynette. So, what else? Oh, she made t-shirts because she wanted to profit off the town. I don't think anybody else has ever made t-shirts. So, she likes to say a lot of things about people stirring up stuff to profit off the town, when in fact, it was her and John, stirring up drama. They are upset that she did not get elected, and that was of her own doings. I had no campaigns against her. I had nothing to do with it. She showed herself in the things that she likes to post with all her drama. So people were like, what is this? What is going on here? She does these things herself. And then she cries for the attention, the bad attention that it gets. But she's the one who brings it all to light. They have a lot of legal issues going on right now concerning their property, their child, their tortoise rescue, and Mr. Hales. I stay away from all that drama. I didn't even reply to the things that she was posting about me and Brett online, or that John was posting. I stayed away from all of it and just let it go on and let people draw their own conclusions. I didn't even get involved, as sick as it was making me to watch. I was elected to do good for the town, and that's what I was doing. I reported the mess left from the previous administration that I walked into numerous times with the Attorney General, the Governor's office, and every agency that needed to know. I reported it. There's been a lot of wrong things going on in the small town of Otter Creek for a very long time. I hope some good solutions come out of all this for the town of Otter Creek. So, with all of these things going on, that was my hopes, that I would get, or the town would get, some reactions for everything that's been going on. And we could find out some more things and get some help. Because it didn't seem like anybody was in a hurry to do anything for the town. So then in October, I got a letter from the Ethics Commission regarding this complaint. and that they would be contacting me again for a statement, even though I had already given them a statement right away because I don't like to dilly-dally with things. And they were asking if I could provide lists of potential witnesses, if anybody else can make a statement, and any relevant documentation that I could provide. So, and then this one is dated September. It's at the end of September, and it is the determination from the Commission of Ethics regarding what they thought. And it's kind of a long paper, so I might start it. I don't know if I'll get through all of it because it is a little bit long. So they say that the complaint was filed by John Cook, that the respondent serves as the mayor. The complaint alleges that the mayor, after being elected, invited my best friend to the town office and allowed him to access private files. The complaint claims that I am his employee and I work on his property when he is in Ohio, and that this complaint indicates possible violations of Article 2, Section 8H2. And then it goes on to say the complaint alleges the respondent hired 2 of her best friend's employees to work in the town positions, and that one of the hirings was improperly made without approval from the town council. The complaint indicates the respondent was attempting to benefit my best friend, who at that point had brought the lawsuit against the town, that the hirings were not properly conducted, and that those are possible violations again. And number 5, the remaining allegations in the complaint, which are addressed below, do not provide a basis for investigation by the commission. Number 6 says the complaint alleges the respondent approved a proposal to provide all residents with access to the town's personal files and separately decided to conduct meetings of the town council by phone. Number 7 says the only provision in the Code of Ethics relevant to the allegations in paragraph 6 is section 112.3136, which states something about a misuse of public position, which I'm not going to read through the whole thing. And it defines what corruptly is, and that is in section 112.3129. And in order to indicate a possible violation of this provision, a complaint must substantively allege that a respondent corruptly used or attempted to use their position in order to benefit himself or herself or another. And it goes on in more detail, which you can look up. And then number 8, the assertions referenced in paragraph 6 above fail to substantively indicate a possible violation by the respondent. Even assuming the respondent approved a proposal providing residents with access to previously private files. And it is pretty lengthy, so I am cutting it down. Number 9, the complaint further alleges the respondent and at least one other town council member are trying to make the town unincorporated. The complaint alleges the possibility that myself and my husband own a campground encompassing lots of land, and their taxes will decrease if the town is no longer incorporated. The allegations referenced in paragraph 9 are not sufficient to substantively indicate a possible violation. Number 11, the complaint next claims the respondent wore a t-shirt during a town meeting that advertised the campground that she owns with her husband. It cannot be said that the allegation in paragraph 11 is sufficient to substantively indicate a violation. And it goes on more in depth, but I'm just giving the highlights of all of this. So I think I will continue this in a part 3. There's a couple of more things we'll go over, or maybe I could just end it real quick and cut it down a little bit. There will be a part 3, but in this one, let's try to get through it. Just hang out with me for another couple minutes. The complaint further claims that I degrade other members of the meetings, uses a suggestion box with the state seal, and have removed the locks on the fire hydrant without a vote. And it says that those allegations do not indicate a factual, non-conclusory manner, any private capacity benefit to the respondent or any individual with whom she had a nexus. So basically, that doesn't need to be investigated. And they note the allegations in paragraphs 6, 9, 11, and 13 do not trigger the application of the prohibition currently found in Article 2, Section 8H2 of the state constitution, as they either do not concern the public position or identify in a factual, non-conclusory manner any disproportionate benefit to the respondent. And while the complaint also claims that one individual hired into the employment performs her job for the respondent's best friend while on duty for the town, the allegation cannot form the basis of a violation by the respondent. So basically, what it's saying in the whole of all of this is that there are about 2 or 3 of the allegations that they're going to consider and do further investigation on, and the rest of them they are deeming are not against anything. So at this point, we're waiting for more investigation to happen on these several allegations. So now we'll have to have a part 3 to see what happened during the investigation. So stay tuned as we have another video with what happened during the investigation.